he answered fiercely. "And now I must go," he added, springing up from the sofa. He seemed most certainly invigorated. She could scarcely believe that he was the same young man who only half an hour before had had to lean on her arm for support. And he was a gentleman. Of that there could be no sort of question. And he was astoundingly beautiful, in the spirit of 100 years ago. A young Byron, a young Shelley, not a young Ramon Novarro or a young Ronald Colman. Well, it was better that he should go, and she did hope, for his own sake rather than hers, that he would not demand money and threaten a scene. After all, with her snow-white hair, firm broad chin, firm broad body, she did not look like someone who could be threatened. He had not apparently the slightest intention of threatening her. He moved towards the door. "Oh," he murmured, with a little gasp of wonder. He had stopped before one of the loveliest things that she had, a mask in silver of a clown's face, the clown smiling, gay, joyful, not hinting at perpetual sadness as all clowns are traditionally supposed to do. He was one of the most successful efforts of the famous Seurat, greatest living master of masks. "Yes, isn't that lovely?" she said. "It was one of Seurat's earliest things, and still, I think, one of his best." "Silver is the right material for that clown," he said. "Yes, I think so too," she agreed. She realized that she had asked him nothing about his troubles, about his poor wife and baby, about his past history. It was better, perhaps, like this. "You have saved my life," he said to her in the hall. She had in her hand a £1 note. "Well," she answered cheerfully, "I was a fool to risk a strange man in my house at this time of night, or so my friends would tell me. But such an old woman like me, where's the risk?" "I could have cut your throat," he said, quite seriously. "So you could," she admitted, "but with horrible consequences to yourself." "Oh no," he said, "not in these days. The police are never able to catch anybody." "Well, good night. Do take this. It can get you some warmth at least." He took the £1. "Thanks," he said, carelessly. Then at the door he remarked, "That mask, the loveliest thing I ever saw." When the door had closed and she went back into the sitting room, she sighed. What a good-looking young man. Then she saw that her most beautiful white jade cigarette case was gone. It had been lying on the little table by the sofa. She'd seen it just before she went into the pantry to cut the sandwiches. He had stolen it. She looked everywhere. No, undoubtedly he had stolen it. What a good-looking young man, she thought as she went up to bed. Sonia Herres was a woman of her time, in that outwardly she was cynical and destructive, while inwardly she was a creature longing for affection and appreciation. For though she had white hair and was 50, she was outwardly active, young, could do with little sleep and less food, could dance and drink cocktails and play bridge to the end of all time. Inwardly she cared for neither cocktails nor bridge. She was above all things maternal, and she had a weak heart, not only a spiritual weak heart but also a physical one. When she suffered, must take her drops, lie down and rest, she allowed no one to see her. Like all the other women of her period and manner of life, she had a courage worthy of a better cause. She was a heroine for no reason at all, but beyond everything else, she was maternal. Twice at least she would have married, had she loved enough. But the man she had really loved had not loved her. That was 25 years ago, so she had pretended to despise matrimony. Had she had a child, her nature would have been fulfilled. As she had not had that good fortune, she had been maternal, with outward cynical indifference, to numbers of people who had made use of her. She was named a jolly good sort, and was always just outside the real life of her friends. Her Harry's relations, Rockages and Cards and Newmarks used her to take off.